costumes. They're like custom made Taylor Swift replicas. I'm ordering the bodysuit, the blue one with all the
Oh
jewels.
my god.
Hasn't come yet, but. And then I got the guitar, same
Honey,
guitar
but
she
you can
has.
pull that off.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I might do the wig because it has the straight across bangs, but I might not. I could just do my normal hair, but
That is pretty fabulous.
that's okay. I was like, I feel like I should. I'm not trying to be exactly Taylor Swift, but yeah.
No, but me, who is not a Swiftie,
You'd
knew
be like,
exactly
oh,
what
that's
you were
Taylor.
going. Yes,
Okay.
like that's what you know what I mean. So, and then that way you can catch everybody, not just the. So,
Fun.
I love it. That's
Yay.
exciting. Thank you.
Secrets out.
So, today, this is admittedly everybody's in distress today, but at some point you kind of need to stick in. So, like, you're going to be going solo.
Yeah.
And still need. I've mentioned it to Ward a couple times, but just never gone anywhere with it. But how friendly are you with Disney?
Oh, very.
Okay.
Oh, very.
Like, I'm trying to talk the powers that be into doing a service that utilizes like
Just Disney. Oh, of course. I think we could because there's so many good ones. There's so many good ones.
and even some of the new stuff
Hercules. I'm actually, guess what? I'm doing one from Pixar today.
well in Frozen has just such a special spiritual undertone.
Oh, yeah, the second one.
Yes, big time. So
Ah.
yeah, there's so much.
Did you know I used to do Disney princess parties all the time?
No.
I would go to people's houses. Well, I worked for a company and I still can work for the company, so it's like somebody, since I worked for them for so long.
No, just private like birthday
Oh, I don't
parties,
own
like
any of the
little
costumes
person?
except for Taylor Swift. So I could do the Taylor Swift one, but they own all the like Disney park, like full on. So I wasn't gonna invest so much money.
No.
But I would just, they would give it to me, and then I would go to people's houses and sing.
Disney,
You
like,
should.
things because
I'm down.
there's so much like spiritual stuff,
There really
especially
is.
with like Moana, with the, like yeah, there's so much stuff.
I'm down. You know I'm in.
Yay.
All right. Is it time? Almost. I'm gonna send you those links. this, everybody. Hi. Good morning. All right. So we're going to kind of surpass Surely the Presence today. But surely the presence of love is in this place, isn't it? We can all agree. But we are going to sing a song that I know you guys all know. If you wouldn't mind standing as you are able, and we're going to sing Stand By Me. Yeah? Awesome. Perfect. And hopefully, I think you guys know the words. They're not going to be in your bulletin. I hear you looking. They're not going to be there today. Things are going to be a little bit different today, but yeah, we got it. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountain should crumble to the sea, no, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Let's do that chorus one more time. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. By me, stand by me, stand by me, stand by me. Good job, you guys.
Ready? It's too soon. Morning. Happy Father's Day. Oh, I need something. On the bottom shelf of my bookcase, I'm looking at you, Louise. On the far left, there's a box, has books in it. Could you bring them in? Thank you. Just ask, people do what you tell them. It's an amazing thing to have power. Or not to have power, or to have power and no memory, or to have, the whole sum and substance of it all. Good morning. We welcome you in the warm and in the loving spirit of unity. When we say that, we mean we welcome you online and you in the room in the awareness of oneness. That wherever we find ourselves, in whatever state of life, in whatever expression of life, or where we find ourselves in the world in any given moment, we are in a state of union. We are in a state, a brown box, little books. We are in a state of constancy in what we call oneness. And what does it mean to be at one? What does it mean? It doesn't mean we look the same. It doesn't mean we behave the same. But it means that at core, in the truth and in the reality of our being, thank you so much. In the reality of our being, we are at one by any name. Whatever name we use to designate the presence for us, the one presence, the one power, God the good, we say, everywhere present, within and without and all around. It's difficult to see oneness from a place of separation in our mind. The picking, the choosing, what's in, what's out, what we believe, what someone else believes. It's difficult to hold to the realization that in and through all of it, we are unique and vital expressions of the one presence, the one power, the one truth, the one reality. And on Father's Day, as any other day, as we celebrate fathers and as we celebrate children and as we celebrate this grand cosmic dance we share, we're aware that the power of the one is within us. We're aware that the power for healing is within us and among us. We are aware that the wisdom and the light that is eternal is within us. And as we honor fathers here in the sanctuary or in our own personal lives, or as we honor the memory of fathers, we do so expanding ourselves into the awareness of what is always already so. You say, well, my relationship with my father was, and there we go. You know, the story tells itself over and over again, my friends. And yet there's something that unites us that is greater than the experience we have. And in that is a living forth of the expression of a kind of love that is indescribable, not because of what we've received, not even because of what we've given, but because that enduring reality of love never goes away. We were born out of love. We are born into love. You said, well, my life didn't look so storybook about this business of love. We say, well, yes, it didn't, but the truth remains. And today we see a healing. We see an uplifting. We see a transforming, a union. Not a division, but a union of the masculine, feminine principle that we call God. And in that, we give thanks and we celebrate together. I heard it's Strawberry Shortcake Day in honor of fathers and mothers and women and men who are present here, living out whatever role we happen to be playing today. So yes, we have more exciting things to tell you about in a minute. Daily word for today, I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Who's you are the one. Please come. I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Huh?
I never know.
You're good to go. We will all help.
Am I here? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good morning. I brought the larger copy for those that are somewhat visually impaired. That would be me. Father's blessing. I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Today I bless my Father and the father figures I have known with thoughts of love and appreciation. The man I call Father may or may not be related to me, but he has touched my life with love. I give thanks for those fatherly figures who selflessly gave their time and love to help me grow into the person I am today. Their demonstration of patience showed me how to give others space and time. Their humor and lightheartedness taught me not to take myself too seriously. Their guidance and trust encouraged me to be independent and trust myself. I would not be the person I am today without the lessons of love and wisdom shared by my father. In so many ways, he gave me strong foundation on which I built my life. I am grateful and blessed with all he has given me. And Matthew, honor your father. And I want to add a little addendum. When I was about 10 years old, I got my heart broken by my neighbor and her girlfriends. They rejected me. And I came home crying. And my father wanted to know what happened, and I told him. And he looked at me and he said, "Don't worry about that. There'll come a day when you will outshine them all." It wasn't about outshining anybody. It was about that my dad could see me and told me so. So thanks, Dad and all dads.
Lovely. Thank you. We like those stories, don't we? We have things going on here. One of the things we have going on here is prayer this morning for Ward. Kimmy, we're praying for him. We're knowing he's well and healthy and perfect in every way. So Ward, if you're watching, and you may not be, we're with you and you're in our hearts. And Ireland, thank you for making it work. Ireland just said, okay, we can do this. So how lucky are we that she would do that for us. If this is your first Sunday here, and I'm looking around, Tracy, it's your first Sunday. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And friend, other friend, name?
Megan, I was here before.
Did I love you then? Oh, well, I love you now then. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you to our greeting team for making our friends feel welcome when they walk in the door. Thank you to our sound crew for, I don't know what they do back there, something about spit and glue, I think, that makes a Sunday morning come together back in the sound area, youth education, in the kids' room. I'm not seeing that we have families with kids this morning, Minnie, but I think my Lily Rose is back there. She had 4 teeth extracted this week. So big, brave Lily Rose. So you just tell her how beautiful it looks, would you? How great she looks that way. On Saturday, upcoming 22nd, Pride by Candlelight at Center for Spiritual Living, 7 o'clock. Come celebrate diversity and our common humanity as we share stories of love, loss, acceptance, discovery, longing, and more as shared through LGBTQ plus lives. Light refreshments after the service. So again, that's at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Yes, CSL Mount Vernon. Our week, we have a kids' movie night on the 26th, potluck on the 30th. That's all of those I will bring to your attention. And what I want to bring to your attention in a really big way is Bill. Bill has come. He's in front of me here. Is he the cutest ever? You don't think so? You didn't see the other one.
He's the cutest ever.
The one in my office that Jerry found somewhere or another looks like I don't know. You know how we love our children, but he's a little creepy. And the first morning I walked in, that he was sitting in my office chair, I was like, whoa! And we have the frequent experience that that's the case. So Jerry created this wonderful poster, Bill Needs You. And let me tell you about the program. For the last few years, Unity of Skagit Valley has been dependent on the endowment from an estate that a generous donor gave in their will. And that has allowed us to stay in the black month to month. But our monthly tithes and love offerings have fallen short of experiences, and we have now expended that generous donor gift. So we wanted to find a creative way to meet all of our annual expenses and stay in the black, and bring attention to what it takes in the way of generosity to keep the lights on and the music playing and the heat or the cool on, as the case may be. So through the generosity of a loving friend and supporter of ours, we've been given this wonderful creative idea to help us fulfill our vision for the next year. To make it a reality, we created a very special adoption process called Adopt a Bill. Adopt a Bill. Bill Needs You. Not only to support Unity's mission, but as a fun and engaging way for all of us to better understand the real magnitude of what it takes to keep Unity running through the year. The adoption process, in addition to supporting our budgetary needs, creates a sense of ownership and joy for the part that each of us plays in helping Unity run smoothly and thrive. So in your bulletin this morning, you will see an adoption paper. And on the back of it, you will see a list of what our regular recurring expenses are. The lowest is $12, and the most expensive is me at $3,000, but we won't talk about that. Then that part is part of the baseline operating, but all these things about insurance and waste management and the mortgage and our taxes that we have to pay and music and youth and all the other things are listed on the back of your bulletin. Adopting a bill is a simple process, we say. You don't have to go through either a personal interrogation or investigation or in-home visits in order to adopt one of our bills. At Adoption Central, over here on my right, you're going to find a large adoption board, and the information that's on the back of these in your bulletin are also online at unitysv.org and available over there. You can choose to adopt a bill for a year, or for a week, or for a month, or just make a general donation. The thing that makes sense about this for me, and I've been a part of this program before, people are able to take ownership in whatever way they can. And we become community in that stronger at core way. If we're going to unlock the building, if we're going to turn on the lights, if we're going to have music on Sundays, if we're going to do the things that really are operating costs, there has to be a way in which we share the responsibility for that. So once a bill has been funded, it gets a happy face on the board. If you adopt a bill, you get a heart-shaped sticker that says "I adopted bill." And what's the other benefit of it to you? You get to see our ministry thrive on all levels in a way that makes a huge difference. When our board president, or when our treasurer, or when somebody who handles the dollars and cents of the building comes out gray-faced and pale, we say this is apparently wasn't a great Sunday. It isn't that it's not working. We're running about $1,500 a month in deficit, and have been for several months. So we're making it work. You're making it work, and it's only getting into the spirit of how does prosperity work? How does prosperity work? Prosperity works in moving beyond the idea that lack is a real thing. It's an idea. It's a way in which we utilize resource, and it's a way in which we hold ourselves to be in a state of limitation. Unity's longtime teachings are based on prosperity. One of the primary characteristics of the Fillmore's teaching were about prosperity. Why? Because the universe is filled with divine substance, filled with infinite possibility and intentionality, moving forth into our lives up to the point that we can accept it and move into the flow. And knowing that, we feel that this is another practice in prosperity while making sure everything here works well. So if you'd like to adopt a utility bill, great. If you'd like to pay for musicians, great. There are a whole lot of options and opportunities. And the one request is that as you take on the adoption, it is in addition to, not instead of, whatever you have generally been given. We can't create shortfall to create increase. Somehow that doesn't work. It neutralizes. So there you have it. After the service, the adoption team will be here to meet you, greet you, love you, explain things, and be present to whatever else it is that arises in this process. First time we've ever done it. It's new to everyone. I have to say, I was a little nervous this morning. Why? Because we don't do this. We've never done this. And I was a little like, well, what if people are like, not me, man? Or churches only talk about money. That's not true here. We don't. And our encouragement is that when we all share together, whether it's in volunteering, whether it's in donating, we become a happy, healthy congregation and community, and it really works for us. So thank you for visiting the adoption table. With the adoption team, stand up so you can see who the people are. Kathleen, Heather, Jerry, Ellen, and me. I've been able to sit with the team, and we're excited about what's going on. Yeah. So for the next 5 weeks, go ahead.
Please fill out the form before they come to the table.
Oh, yep. Fill out the form. Go online. The online version is easy. They give you instructions about how to play with it. Anything else, sir? We're good? Yay! And Bill's just waiting for you. He needs you. See? Bill wants you. So there you are. Prayer team meeting is not this Tuesday. It'll be the following Tuesday. Prayer team meeting will be this Tuesday, I guess. I don't. We'll talk about it.
We will.
If you need prayer, however, we're on duty. How about that? So prayer box is on the credenza, and prayer slips are available for you to write something. Go online, unitysv.org, and no great need is greater than the ability of the one presence to meet it, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. We pray with you. Back and forth and back. After a week of rain, the skies cleared and the temperature warmed up, promising a spell of Indian summer. Out walking, I stopped by the neighborhood playground where the best swings are. In summer, early and late, I usually have the swings all to myself, and I often sit and swing for a while. And so I've done this evening, but I'm not alone. Children were allowed back outside after supper to play in the fading light, and the playground rapidly filled up, and soon all of the swings were occupied. And a little boy marched up to stand in front of me. He stared at me for a bit and then said, "I want to swing, and you are not a kid." "Yes, I am," I replied. "No, you're not." "Yes, I am." "No, you're not," he yelled. His father got up off a bench and walked over to see why his son is shouting at the white-bearded man on the swing. "What's wrong, Billy?" "He won't let me swing. He says he's a kid." The father considered me. I, still swinging, considered the father. The father smiled and then laughed and then turned to his son. "He is a kid," the father explained, "just a big old one." "Thanks," I said. The father took the son by the hand. "You can wait your turn. Come teeter-totter with me." And that's what they did. It'll be a long, long time before the kid is old enough to understand. Someday, when he is a big old kid, I wish for him this small joy of sitting in a swing in the soft September twilight. And may he always remember the example his father and I have set and keep on swinging back and forth and back and forth, back and forth and back and forth. As you know, Father's Day is the one service of the year that I come to totally unprepared, totally on all levels. Totally, like can't make stuff up about fathering. Can't make it up out of my own experience. Can't find that thing about being in the world in a body, a form, and a mind that isn't like mine. But the spirit is the same. The packaging is different. The experiences, however, are different. And trying to make them the same or speak the ideas in the way I frequently would doesn't necessarily fit. So I have to use other people's inspiration to touch me so I can bring that forward for you to try on for size, to see what is true for you at this point in your life. What is true for you to be a man in the world, in this world, in today's world? what is it to look out from the eyes of your own life and see, well, what about fathering? Mine? Or the one I've been to others? I've had so many great male mentors in my life, teachers, down through all these years of unity churches. I've met men that I didn't experience in the way I do now, partly because I'm different, partly because it offers a place where we can find ourselves and experience and express ourselves from a common standpoint. Many years ago, at a retreat on Crystal Mountain, I had the opportunity to work with one of my male mentors, who was Danon Perry. And Danon Perry was a conflict resolution expert in the world. And he was somebody unlike anybody I had ever met up to that point in time. So it would have been 1989, 1990 when I did a lot of work with him. And then later we did this retreat together before he passed. And we had met and kind of scripted what our presentation was going to be, and we were going to work together. And I remember receiving this huge download of information, inspiration, just knocked me off my feet. And I said to him, Danon, do you trust me enough to let me lead the way in something we haven't really talked about? And because he was who he was, he of course said yes. And then when we started, it became a really powerful and extraordinary experience. And it was about peacemaking men and women together. And it was mind-blowing. And it was the first time in a huge group of people where I had ever opened a dialogue about why we war with each other and why we alienate and separate, and the things that justified that and broke down trust down through time and experience. And in that sharing, then he came back to counterbalance the things that I was saying. So we did this human dialogue thing, and then the other part of the inspiration was then the whole group became involved in, and then major forgiveness practices, and it's one of the hallmark experiences of my life that day. But what it came down to was, it's not about being the same. It's about coming into relationship at the deepest level, not just of spiritual understanding, but of spiritual understanding arising in these extraordinary ways that change the world when they're directed in the right and proper channels. And so today, I think not so much about my childhood and my father's. I think about the power we have together when we learn how to move into harmony and explore without fear what it means to be in this body and in that one, and how spirituality for us is is experienced in these multitudinous and extraordinary ways, and how much we have to discover, not just about how do we bring peace to a planet, but how do we bring peace to our relationships in ways that transform not just ourselves, but everything we're about. So Ireland is going to sing for us, and then do a little meditation, and then I want to share a couple of stories with you from other people I respect.
And if you guys would please join me on the chorus of this song. I know you know it. Or you can sing all of it, actually. As much as you know. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Oh, imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. Hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Let's do that last one together, okay? You may say, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Beautiful.
Ooh. Nice. Lovely. Lovely. Bring yourself to a willingness to be still in the spirit. To be still doesn't mean that the body doesn't move. To be still doesn't mean that the brain or the mind, the incessant movement of thoughts, will stop. To be still is to go beneath them, honoring, allowing, and yet somehow moving into that which is your true home. And with your breath, and with that slow, easy movement from head to heart, simply allow yourself to be. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the chair holding you. Notice whether your hands are open or closed. Notice your neck and your shoulders. Notice that deeper feeling of being within and observing. At first there's a fluttering, a sense of trying to find an inner way, to settle, to be present. And then you take a deep breath. And relax your abdomen. And your hips. And your shoulders open. And there's space, spaciousness for your heart to expand, to fill the entirety of your being. I am a heart. I am a heart. And in the heart that I am, there is room There's room for remembering and room for letting go. I am a heart pulsating with the rhythm of life. And in the rising and the falling of the tides, I am able to witness, to see those things that no longer own or limit me, for the free-flowing movement of the one presence lifts and carries away, opens the way, lifts and carries away, brings forth what we call forgiveness and release. And as it moves in the deep places, it knows where the pain has been and brings forth the light and the movement and the pulsation of healing. And where there has been pain, there is light. And where there has been turmoil, there is peace. And where there has been felt loss at deep and profound levels, there is infilling, there is movement, there is pulsation, there is life, igniting the flame of the heart. And we pray, loving Spirit, as you move mightily in and through me, I know and declare that that which is no longer mine to hold is freed and released and transformed, that I might fill and be filled with an awareness, a new awareness, a realization of your love transforming all things. I am a heart that beats with the pulsation of divine light, and I am guided. I am a heart that beats with the pulsation of divine life, and I am healed. I am whole. I am seen. I am loved. I am known. I am embraced. I am uplifted. I am transformed. I am renewed. I see with new eyes that that which has defined me is being transformed even now by the power within me, that I might know truly in my heart that I am child of God and all is well. On the deep levels of my being, I affirm I am the living forth of the heart of God. And all that I need, all that I ever need, is with me now. For my brothers and my sisters, for all forms of life, wherever the expression might be, whether it be in the firmament, whether it be in the heavens, whether it be in the hearts and minds, whether it be in the life force within that which I love and that which I do not yet know. I offer blessings. And so it is. Amen.
You're the soul who understands the scars that made me who I am. Through the drifting sands of time, you got your back and you've got mine. If you bear a heavy load, I'll be your wheels, I'll be the road. I'll see us through the thick and thin, love and loss until the end. 'Cause you carried me with you, from the highest of the peaks to the darkest of the blue. I was just too blind to see. Like a lighthouse in a storm, you were always guiding me. Yeah, it's true. You carried me with you. From the day it all began, you were there, you took my hand. And when I hurt a bit too deep, you watched me as I fell asleep. And when my head was in the clouds, you found a way to pull me out. You picked my heart up off the ground and showed me love was all around. Yeah, you carried me with you, from the highest of the peaks to the darkest of the blue. I was just too blind to see. Like a lighthouse in a storm, you were always guiding me. Yeah, it's true. You carried me with you. If you should ever bear a heavy load, I'll be your wheels, I'll be the road. I'll see us through the thick and thin, for love and loss until the end. 'Cause you carried me with you, from the highest of the peaks to the darkest of the blue. I was just too blind to see. Like a lighthouse in the storm, you You were always guiding me, yeah, it's true. You carried me with you. Oh, you carried me with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great choices. We did it. She did it. These books are wonderful books, and I think we have enough for most of the men in our group this morning, called Holy Moments. And Rick has one, right? You already have one. Don't take another one. Share with your brothers. It's always good. I don't know how many I have, but they are for you to take at the end of the service. If you're so called, please do that. My gift to you for Father's Day. I don't know where to put it, but just on the steps maybe. Thank you. I don't know, there may not be enough for everyone, but I'll order more if other people want them. Just tell me and I'll get it for you. You remember when Ram Dass went home? You remember, maybe if you weren't a student of what shall I say? Fourth dimensional thinking, beyond thinking in that time. You remember that Ram Dass has gone away to India. He has studied at depth and lived in the ashram and been around and long-haired and of a very different lifestyle than the one he was raised with. And as happens with folks, just did that rebellion through an opposite way of expression. We have a few ways of demonstrating. We have few ways of demonstrating our independence. But when we choose a path, it is frequently not like the one we've come from, but rather one that we are moving toward, which is frequently in opposition to what we've known. It's the way, it's how you grow. Some people conform and they stay in the model that they're raised in, and that's kind of how it goes for them. Others, in their trying to find independence, individuality, a sense of self, will be guided in different ways. We all have different paths. We know it to be true, we witness it all the time, and yet the familial bond somehow brings up this need to break the mold. I don't know how else to say it. Break the mold. Certainly happened for me, and Ram Dass. Then his father has had a major stroke. And after all these years of living his very Hindu-like life, he and being really not around his dad much at all, except for short visits. I remember Jack Cornfield's story, his story, when he came back from the Thai Forest Monastery, where he studied with Ajahn Chah. He came back from that to his very Jewish historical family system, and is wearing his robes and accompanying his sister-in-law to Elizabeth Arden for her spa day, sitting meditating in the common area in his robes, and the people walking by and becoming quite a statement. Well, Ram Dass was his own statement, and he became a teacher early on, and he was really powerful. A powerful teacher and very hip, So at this particular stage in his life, his father's had a stroke, and he's decided to go home to companion his father, basically, at this point in time, to see if I could see through the veils, he said, that were created. So for him, it was spiritual practice and an experiment. And then it got a whole lot deeper than that. First of all, the relationship between my father and I has changed over the years. We never touched each other when we were young, and now I hold him, I massage him, I dress him. When I'm putting on his socks, he pats me on the back, and my heart opens, and it's so beautiful. Before, we were always busy doing stuff. Let's do photography, or let's go here, or do that, or do something. And now we just sit and hold hands. And I say, Dad, you want television? Nope. You want music? Nope. Are you comfortable? Yep. And we just sit there, and every now and then he looks over and smiles at me. And it's so sweet. We're there together in the silence. And when he's walking to the kitchen on his walker and he's shuffling along, I'm going behind him. Lift, push, place, push. And we're doing walking meditation together, and it's incredible. But I notice in my diaries, I've looked back over them, the variety of head trips that I laid on this simple act every day of getting him up to the bathroom, toileting him, showering him and stuff. Some days I noted that I came in and I was very much the devoted son. That's who I was busy being. And I was thinking how wonderful it is that I can serve my father. And we have an extended family, isn't that wonderful? The next day I found out that I had noted that I was suffering. Boy, am I good to be doing this. Just watch. Boy, I'm, making a real sacrifice here. I'm so good to be doing this. And the day before it was how wonderful I can just be with him. That the mind still works even in the midst of all that's going on. And then the next day, I found the dominant theme was impatience, because he was trying to zip up his fly, but he couldn't manage it. And I said, come on, for God's sakes, you can zip your fly. And I wrote in my diary, impatience. And then there was the day I was kind. And then there was a day I was humorous, full of yucks. And he, in the meantime, isn't doing anything. Do you understand? He's not doing anything. He's just being there. I mean, because then sometimes I come and I note that I think he's my guru in drag. Because his equanimity is showing me my own trips. Later, when Ram Dass has his stroke and is wheelchair bound and his speech is not available to him, his ability to communicate is very limited. People gather around him, students, people he's known who want to care for him in the ways that he was caring for his father. But he's talking about his trips and the trips we have about caring and allowing ourselves to be cared for. Because once we've been harmed, once because the trust bond has been violated, It's so difficult to let healing into that place. So difficult, whether by death or by life circumstance or by the harshness of trying to figure out how to be in the world or whatever else it might be. We have these walls. We say, well, someday when you treat me the way you were supposed to, I'll love you and trust you then. And then we go about the business of separating into categories and our stories. And stories live forever. I can tell you the stories. I know you have yours. And when we come to Father's Day, it brings up our whole spiritual story about God and Father. And it's one of the reasons so many people leave a traditional church behind. If I say to you, let's talk about Mother God, we're all like, woohoo, lap it up. We can take that. The men around us may not fully get that, but for us it's like, oh, Divine Mother, I can relate. Yeah, I'm good with that. Soft, squishy God, Des, kind of. But when we talk about God Father, and when we talk about the patternings and the archetypes about divine masculine, we look at ideas that we've held that actually take us away from spirituality. We still conform to these belief structures about the authority, the judgment, the harshness, the like can't cuddle up to God principle. Don't know how to snuggle up to the principle of God operating in these ways we've been taught that have lived not just our lives for us, but our heritage, our inheritance, our ancestry, our back and back and back and back into the belief that this whole concept of life is split in two, and then you go into the Bible and it gets worse. And then Jesus suddenly redeems the concept and shows us the elements, or great teachers or really awakened beings show us a whole different construct of how this divine inheritance is at work in and through the masculine feminine, but we don't know how to get into that really, like live into it. And so we're still in this reactionary pattern so frequently. It's like, don't tell me about that old God. I don't want to hear it. No, we don't have to talk about that God. There's a God of compassion and love that shows up when we're ready for this opening of the heart, healing, a different kind of love. And here is Ramdas' story after a lifetime of antagonistic relationship, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction, now in this heart of love, like nothing to fight about anymore, no need to prove something out of a model that can never prove itself. Mark Nepo then, his story. When my father was dying, interesting that I was called to both of these stories. When my father was dying, I was alone with him in the hospital and found myself feeding him applesauce. The moment opened, and my whole being, my whole life, was suddenly concentrating on slipping the spoon with the utmost care into his mouth, waiting for him to swallow, and then sliding the spoon slowly from his lips so as not to disturb his labored breathing. We repeated this ritual tenderly, spoonful after spoonful. And in the rare quiet of a January afternoon, wonder began to fill the room. And I began to cry softly. There seemed to be a glow about us. There was no need for words. I didn't want my life to leave this moment of feeding my Father. Through my thoroughness of care, I'd found a transparent instant in the middle of all our trouble, in the middle of his dying. Another man in relationship with his father, separated by stories and experiences and harshness and hurts and loss of trust and everything that went with it. In this moment of tenderness, all of life opened. We had fallen into the center, which felt like the dot of clarity that cleared in a lake with one drop of rain from which the water ripples in every direction. My Father and I were in that still dot of clearness. My sadness had given way to care, which had given way to wonder, wonder in the center of all that pain. As I slipped the spoon from his mouth one last time, I felt that I was in the moment of every child who ever fed their dying parent. I kissed his forehead and held his hand, both of us more alive than we could remember, completely covered in inexplicable wonder. That day with my father, I learned that a presence waits beneath our chatter and our pain that can illuminate the world. Doesn't really matter if they've passed, doesn't really matter that they were never there. Doesn't even matter that we didn't know them or have a moment like that, a transparent moment. That root is in us of the archetypal and generational patterning that brings us into the world as ourselves and allows us, as we mend the wounds and go about the work of letting go and forgiving and moving forward and allowing the transmutation of these stories to take place in us. So, one father left. I was 2. He was about burning down the apartment where we lived. He had hawked my mother's last possession, and there was 1 can of soup in the cupboard. And he wasn't going to get it. He wasn't going to get it that something was amiss. He was following his own patterning and stuck in it in a way that was living itself out as patterns do in and through us, not just generationally, but intimately. These patterns that we say, it should be different than that, for God's sakes. But it wasn't. So we live with that, right? So who has issues of abandonment? My mother married, and he sexually abused me for years. betrayal, trust, brokenness, brokenheartedness, total loss of self-worth or value or anything that mattered. Learning how to put on masks and wear a way of being that would show up in the world like I was okay when I wasn't. And then I married somebody who wanted me to be perfect. Because I certainly looked like I was perfect. And then I really stepped out of the box and married a woman. Where do you go from there? Huh? What I want you to hear in that is not, I'm wedded to my story. I'm really free of my stories. Do they show up like byproducts of history? You know, old plantings and seeds? Of course. How long did it take me to trust men? And who taught me to trust men but the men in unity congregations that created for me a model of relationship that has over these years meant absolutely everything to me. Not because you had to, but because that's who you are. Men choosing a way of being, seeing with different eyes, bringing something different into the world. Not just our pain, our collective pain. Not just our collective separation, but a belief that we all can share something that can make a difference in this world. In our personal lives, in our relationships with our children, and in our relationship with the world. And as much as there have been many times when I said women should just do it, it wouldn't be whole. We can't be whole without you. Oh, we can be whole unto ourselves. But planetarily, life-wise, the Fillmores did the work together. She was one way, he was the other. It brought balance, and it brought unity, and it gave birth to ideas that make us free, and we can internalize those ideas, and they make us free of the stories we've lived with all our lives. That it's time to let go so we can get on about the work of doing the business that each of us is called to, each in our own way, on the path that we walk. Beyond the blame, we find a place where we can be at one. Beyond the brokenness is our wholeness. Sam Keen said, good men or women are not products of an instant. There's no shake and bake identity, no microwave masculinity, no easy formula for authentic manhood. We can't create ourselves overnight by willpower, guts, or hard work. Reinhold Niebuhr once said, nothing worth doing can be accomplished in a single lifetime. Thank you for that. At the center of my vision of manhood, there is no lone man standing tall against the sunset, but a blended figure composed of a grandfather, a father, and a son. The boundaries between them are porous and strong impulses of care, wisdom, and delight pass across the synapses of generations. Good and heroic men are generations in the making, cradled in the hearts and initiated in the arms of those who were cradled in the hearts and initiated in the arms of the divine. Thank you. Thanks for letting me play in your world. So as we share our tithes and our love offerings, please come to the Adopt-A-Bill table. If you're going to fill out a slip today, your adoption paper, if you're going to adopt a bill today, Jay reminds us, fill it out before you come to the table if you want to take it home with you, if you want to spend time praying about it, if you want to think about it until it drops for you. Whatever the case may be, you can go online, unitysv.org, adopt a bill. There's this information then in your bulletin, and we're going to be doing this for 5 weeks. So if today is not the day, and you've got lunch plans or you've got to get somewhere, go for it, and we're doing this for the next 5. So thank you so much. I give joyfully and easily. For, yes. It absolutely is. Thank you. Quiet in here. Quiet, quiet, quiet. I think Miss Lily Rose is coming to be with us. So when we're completing the sanctuary, adoptable's open over here, shortcake's open over there. It's a hard choice, but pray about it, see what works for you. And maybe you can do both. That'd be a great thing too, wouldn't it? Yeah. So, here we sit. Our little child of light is somewhere else. So, let's begin. I don't know. Ellen, are they coming? They might be coming. Oh, look. A small person. Oh, great. Cadence is here. Hi, you. Cadence, come here. Come see the people. Oh, who do you have? Hi, Lily Rose. Hi, Cadence. You've got Sloth.
Yeah.
I love Sloth. We love Sloth. All right. Children of light, we love you. I'm sorry. Yeah, we appreciate you just the way you're getting so big. Can he have it for a minute? Here, Cadence, you want the Sloth? Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. All right, prayer for protection together, please. The light of God surrounds us. We're going to go on a road trip. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's stand and sing our peace song, please.
We don't have a. Oh, yes, it is on. Because we don't have a piano, so I'm gonna sing it in. You know what I mean? Just to start. Yeah. Just to get the beginning part, and then I'll put it back. Okay. All right. There's no word, but we're gonna sing like that. That's the first note, everybody. I'll wait for everybody to group up. Here we go. All right. Let there be peace on earth.